Go to your phone calls. I apologize for ranting. Empty White House. That's a great name. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Been trying to get a hold of you for about 3 years. I forgot all those questions, but I got a couple of things I'd like to ask you. You know, with Adam Kokesh doing the march on Washington and that kind of thing, and I remember when Farrakhan did his Million Man March, I was thinking back then, you know, what would happen if all those million men were packing, you know? And so my question really is, what do you think of the scenario where, you know, a million or so of us go to Washington and exercise our citizen arrest powers on these criminal politicians?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. We need to just keep calling them criminals, showing where they're criminals, and try to take over juries and grand juries and start prosecuting them and give police and people support if they try to... I mean, they tell cops what they're allowed to investigate. You can say to the cops, hey, the Federal Reserve's on record laundering $3 billion out of the San Antonio Federal Reserve. I can go with the AP and show cops there when we're at a protest. And the cops go, yeah, I know, I'm not allowed to investigate them. I mean, they'll do drug investigations on somebody selling, you know, a kilo a year, but they won't do an investigation on the bank that launders the money. So much of it is just the perception. But, yeah, they do not like the citizen arrest power. I mean, if you caught a politician, you know, let's say beating a child with a baseball bat in an alleyway, citizen's arrest says you could, you know, punch them in the nose till they stopped and, you know, hold them down till the police got there. But the cops would probably arrest you because they've been told, don't let the slaves ever know our power is a citizen's arrest power as well, and that we just swear an oath and then get special training, you know, to be able to be bonded an officer of the court. So, you know, there's your answer on that. I mean, they would call it, you know, patriots trying to kidnap politicians. But you can do like the left has done, you know, where you go and, you know, with the handcuffs and at a press conference and go, I have the handcuffs, citizens arrest, you know, for Obama for drone strikes killing children. And then the message is they should be arrested. And then the cops come over and go, so you're really trying to kidnap the president? You go, no, obviously it's a protest. If they try to get you to opt in to say you were really trying to kidnap the president, it's 20 years in prison. So they play these games. That's why the cops will come and say, so when you said money bomb, you were planning to blow something up. They had Fox News say that about a Ron Paul money bomb, and that I was promoting it to bomb buildings. Now that was 6 years ago when the campaign started, you know, for 2008 and 2007, when the public didn't know what money bombs were. Again, they knew what a money bomb was. They were cold-bloodedly on Fox News going, these money bombs, was Glenn Beck actually. He was on CNN at the time. They did it later on Fox. We need to use the army on these Ron Paul people and these money bomb libertarians. They want to blow up the Capitol with a bomb. And, of course, he knew full well what he was doing. I don't want to bash Glenn Beck. That's how dangerous he is, though. You know, saying we need to use the army on these Ron Paul people. Now that we won politically, you know, now that Ron Paul and Rand Paul are the hottest thing, you know, since the NFL draft or whatever, now it's like, oh, I love them. Mwah, mwah, mwah. But when people didn't know what a money bomb was, yeah, Alex Jones with Ron Paul's planning a Guy Fawkes bomb. And they need to have the army used on them right now. And now the new thing is, yeah, I'm getting death threats from Alex Jones. I mean, it's totally made up. Just, I'm in danger. He wants to get me. Help me, I'm weak. I told you the Jedi are taking over. I appreciate your call, Empty White House. Matt, you're on the air. Welcome. Good to have you on here with us.
How you doing, sir?
Good, sir. Go ahead.
Can I introduce myself? I'm not afraid to allow them to know my identity. My name is Matthew Johnson. I served you, the people, starting in 1997 as a United States soldier. And then I transferred and lost all my rank to the United States Marine Corps. I've had 2 basic trainings. And I actually started looking into these things because I wanted them not to be true. And one of the pieces of information I have here for you is it's about Snowden, who they claim to be a traitor. It's about the NSA. I got on their website, and it's real simple. Anyone can do it. You get on their website at nsa.gov, and you look at careers, and they have legitimate careers, entry-level careers, and the description title of these careers is Network Exploitation Analysis. The second one is Global Network exploitation analysis. So that directly says in the title that that's what we're going to do, is hack people's accounts, view what they're viewing, see what they're doing, who they're talking to, and that's a major problem, especially when you're talking about the Constitution of the United States. My other issue is that I know here in our state, Texas, right up the road in Dickinson, Texas, they are teaching our kids the New World Order for 2 chapters of their government class. It's a 12th grade class. It's a book called American History. You can look it up. You can buy it for $212 on eBay. And that book, Chapter 33, it will tell you about the New World Order. But the situation is... No.
Listen, starting about 8 years ago, they show the patents, they show the program, and they say, we're adding to jet fuel, barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and other things to save the Earth from sun radiation. We're geoengineering. And there's the whole program, starting with 8th graders. In fact, I've got a copy of the textbook somewhere around here. But then they go on the news and say it doesn't exist, and I say Obama runs the tornadoes as a way to discredit it. So yes, they say we've got the kids, and they teach them men are bad, families are bad, we're going to take your guns, world government's coming. I've actually seen that textbook before. Somebody scanned it and sent it to me, but will you scan it and email it to showtips@infowars.com again? What is that, like a 2008 edition?
Actually, want to know the truth? The book was published in 1991.
Well, but it must be a new edition because I've seen that before. What's it called? The American History Reader? What's it called?
The American History, 1970 to the present, to today. And then the 33rd chapter. I can get you the nomenclature and everything. I actually did that already. I talked to both our congressmen and contacted I talked to both our senators and contacted... Oh, listen.
Time Magazine for Kids... about 11 years ago, because I showed it on air a bunch, said, your parents belong to the old past and they're foolish. It actually said that. I'm paraphrasing. And they don't understand it. And they don't want you to have really cool stuff. That's why they're against putting chips in you. This was Time Magazine for Kids, folks. I showed it probably 15 times on air or more. For like weeks, I held it up and talked about it on my TV show and radio show. And it said, they belong to the old age and don't get it and don't want you to have fun. You know better than them. I mean, it was like if I was writing a dystopic novel, how Big Brother would talk to the kids. You're going to get a chip. I mean, they've got your kids is what I'm saying. And now with centralized curriculum, it's all the teachers aren't even allowed to teach what they want. Because I know teachers are sneaking stuff in. They've got cameras watching the teachers. They're now fired if they don't walk in and just be jail guards, basically. Go ahead.
And I'll tell you what. I mean, if it doesn't exist, like mainstream media says, then why are they teaching it to them?
Well, sir,
the next thing is they can keep their fancy, schmancy, cool stuff, their Xbox Ones, their nonsense. In 1997, I rose my hand and I took that oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I didn't want to get involved, but I took that oath, and I have to keep my word before God. So the situation is people do need to wake up. They do need to do their own research. They can keep their fancy, schmancy crap, but we need to keep that Constitution.
No, I hear you. Listen, God bless you. I got to jump to break and come back with more calls, but you're absolutely right, sir, and God bless you for waking up. And I'm glad you tried to prove me wrong and found out that I was telling the truth. This is a technocratic re-engineering of the whole world, a takeover towards authoritarianism. And it's all hidden in plain view. Yeah, your TV's watching you. Yeah, the Xbox Connect, looks through your walls and reports back to the Pentagon. Big deal. Pentagon cares about you. Did you take your shots today? I mean, again, they knew when they blew up the chemical weapons dumps in Gulf War I, it was going to hurt our troops, and then they covered it up. Okay, these are evil people.
The important thing about the Pro 1 filter today is that the material we use for removing fluoride and other heavy metals now will remove the latest form of fluoride called hydrofluorosilicic acid. There's no other fluoride reduction filter out there that will remove that type of fluoride. And it's extremely important because today we're hearing more and more cities are using that form of fluoride.
We've been having medication forced on us through the water system for quite a while. Most people don't realize it. Most people don't realize the negative effects of fluoride.
There's a wide range of health effects that are attributed to fluoride.
Bottom line, Why should somebody get this new Pro One Pro Pure filter?
The reason to buy the Pro One, it's an all-in-one filter. It's convenient, easy to use. It doesn't require the add-on fluoride filter. And in addition, this filter removes the latest form of fluoride called hydrofluorosilicic acid.
By the way, that last caller pointed out the NSA has network exploitation people on it, and that is folks to break in and take over domestic computers. If you go to the Cyber Command the last 4 or 5 years, they've been advertising that, admitting they're doing it. Of course, and it's all domestically aimed, which they've denied, which is just ridiculous. So, you know, right there is something important that was brought up by a caller. Lee in Ontario, Canada, thanks for calling in, Lee.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Oh, okay. Here's one of the things I wanted to say. About a year ago, I sent you an article about American police being able to, they have jurisdiction in Canadian waters. I don't know if you ever got it.
I did, and our military now patrols your streets in areas of Canada. It's absolute New World Order garbage.
Yes, and actually up here, I'm actually in Kapuskasing, Ontario, and up here in World War II, we had a POW camp, and lately we've been seeing, in the last 2 years, we've been seeing an influx of armored personnel. The Army has been setting up natural disaster drills here.
Yeah, they use natural disaster, but then tanks. It's really civil unrest. You should go as a citizen journalist. Give yourself a name, you know, the name of your organization. Go shoot video, put it on YouTube. Go up and ask the military. You haven't done anything wrong. What are the armored vehicles for?
Exactly. And the other thing is, I'm actually from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. And there was this, I heard about you maybe, 8 years ago. And there's this guy who actually, he used to be heavily involved into the satanic cult, and which turned Christian. Born again, and he took me to all the parks in town, and they all had the Nazi symbols on the gates, and nobody actually noticed this. So it's just a little fact I wanted to tell you. But,
no, it's gang sign. Just like when you see gang stuff, graffiti, you don't know what it means. They all know what it means. And it is just overrun with gangs and cults. And these are all just people looking for power who then use it to get more people into their group to abuse them and suck off of them. It's absolutely pathetic and disgusting. I appreciate your call, Lee. Well, that's another show. Evan in Minnesota, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, glad to be on. How are you doing today?
Good. You're listening on XM 244, sir. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for waking me up, Alex. Say, I've got a really important message. Tomorrow in Washington, there's going to be a press conference over this immigration bill. And throughout the day, I like how Lindsey Williams pointed out several times that they have buzzwords, and you can hear it on the news, okay? And I'm going through the XM channels this afternoon, some right-to-work advocates had sat there and said that they're trying to slam RFID chips, not just for the immigrants, but for anybody and everybody in the United States would have to receive an RFID chip in themselves to be able to work. And they're saying, well, there would be a violation of being able to have the right to work.
Wait, so they're pushing implantable microchips on the news, you're saying?
There's some right to work advocates got into that bill, and it's very important that we have to get behind. These congressmen will be coming out on tomorrow in Washington. It's a pretty big deal.
Did I misunderstand you? You said they're promoting implantable chips to work?
No, that's what's in that bill, this immigration bill. Some right-to-work advocates have gotten in there.
No, I've been in the bill. No, I know it's got a national ID in it with a microchip in it, but then the illegals will all be exempt.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happens.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.
Bill Ayers came out and defended Obama, saying he said he'd be middle of the road, but he went on to say, I think he should be put on trial for war crimes with every other president. That's giving him left cover. Bill Ayers, literally, Obama grew up with him. That is meant to give left cover to Obama and to have the fake right wing defend him. But then Ayers goes on to say, but he's still a good guy, basically. So it's a bunch of rhetoric, but that article's up on Infowars.com right now. Let's go to Alicia in Minnesota. You're on the air. Welcome.
Well, hi there, Alex.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good.
Just a couple things I wanted to talk about, especially about like the TSA. You had a girl on there a couple weeks ago talking about TSA searches. Probably about 8 years ago, when I was about 17, I flew on a flight, and they told me because I had put my flight on standby because I was sick, that I had to be put into a special search. And I thought that it was really weird at the time. My mom and I kind of thought it was strange, but we complied, and then they started to do the search, and it was very intrusive. I mean, extremely intrusive. I mean, they touched everywhere and anything they could. I mean, they're looking in your undergarments, on the outside, on the inside.
Let me be clear. Are you saying they said, we think you might be sick?
No, they were saying that because I was sick and put my flight on standby to get home sooner because I was in a wheelchair at the time. I was really sick. I had a lot of health problems. I've always had health problems my whole life. They were saying because I put my flight on standby that I had to be searched because at that time, standby was a flag for terrorists, that terrorists put their flights on standby.
Yeah, no. It's all part of they're looking for terrorists when the government 9 times out of 10 is running the terrorist. And when the TSA does that with me, I go, wait, you work for the government on record that runs Al-Qaeda. So stop acting like I'm a suspect and you're not. I mean, the TSA have been caught being, stealing people's stuff, being pedophiles at record numbers. They are the suspects, not me.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I mean, I've even received little notes in my bags before about, because I always roll up my stuff military style. They put notes in my bag when I've flown like, hey, you're packing your stuff too tight for us to search. We couldn't get in your bag. And I mean, it's every single time I've flown. And people at first used to think I was a little bit nutty about it when I was telling them, I think for some reason I'm being watched. I think for some reason they know something and they're tracking me and sending little notes in my bags every time I fly. And so people just need to start waking people up slowly, start showing them the inconsistencies that you are showing them on a daily basis to the people that they love and know, and try to wake them up how you can get to people. Because, some things can seem out there for the first time people who are just waking up.
No, I hear you.
We really need to focus on how you can get it to each individual person because if you're a listener of Alex Jones, you already are awake, period. I
hear you. Spread the word. Good to hear from you. I'm going to do some overdrive. I need to go back to 4 hours every day. I'm going to come back and go to Lisa, Lucy, and Abraham, but that's going to be it for calls because I want to play this video. NSA agent caught snooping on video. This is some of the funniest satire I've ever seen, but it's real. He's just not NSA. He goes out in this video on the street with a boom microphone listening to people and saying, we've been spying on you, but now we're just going public. And, the people threaten to kick his butt and stuff. A dog attacks him. And this is a real video. These are real people. It's just that he's not really NSA. And it just illustrates what they're really doing, but it's covert. I mean, if I went to my neighbor's house and said, hi, I want to come in and plant microphones in your house, they'd probably try to punch me in the nose. But as long as government does it, it's supposedly okay. So that's in the featured stories archive. It's already scrolled off the page. That's why it's so important to click on the top stories link at the top of Infowars.com, because all the big stories that roll off will be there. But I want to take some of your calls, play that. And then also the Veritas Project, they've got their new book out. We're going to put it in the shopping cart as soon as they sell some to us. Really showing you how to be an activist. They've learned a lot of great lessons. We've learned a lot from them. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. It's up on Infowars.com. I also tweeted it out at Real Alex Jones is a good place to find it. NSA agent caught snooping on video. And again, this is some of the best satire I have ever seen. He's not a real NSA agent, but these are real people. These are real people. There's a little bit of racing language towards the end, so I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it is up on my Twitter, at Real Alex Jones, and up on Infowars.com. It's scrolled off the main page already in the featured news archive, so just click on top stories, and you'll find it partway down there. That's why breaking news is our RSS feed, whatever the latest is, but top stories is our top stories, the featured news area. That is such an important link there in the navigation bar on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But let's go ahead and go to him walking around for radio listeners with a big boom mic, coming up to people sitting around having lunch at a cafe outside, people sitting on a bench at a bus stop, and some of them, say, I'm going to get up and kick your butt. You keep doing that. I mean, this is real. These are real people. But when the government does it, but he says it's the government, some go, oh, okay. But others say, yeah, that degenerate government. So let's go ahead and a little dog attacks him. It's amazing. Here it is.
Just the government, we just monitor people's phone calls. Okay. Can you get away from me? Hey, don't run from the NSA.
He's chasing him down the street. And if you don't want to be listened to, that's a sign of your criminality. We're on a park bench.
I'm sorry, we just monitor people's phone calls. You mind? Go ahead, I don't mind. Go ahead, I'm fine. Oh, no, we got a monitored conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that guy really knows what he's talking about there. Now, going to another serious piece. This is exclusive. The folks that brought down Acorn, you could have done this too as citizen journalists, going in with women going, hi, this is an underage prostitute. We're going to run slaves. And they're like, oh, let us help you run the slaves. And you go to another Acorn office. As long as you're a Democrat, it's okay. I mean, the Democratic Party really is an organized crime organization with a bunch of useful idiots following it around. And the Republicans are a bunch of well-meaning fascist supporters on average. The average Republican really thinks that the Republican Party's good and has no idea it's an al-Qaeda running crime syndicate, basically. But hidden camera catches wireless company employees passing out Obama phones to people who say they'll sell them for drugs, shoes, handbags, and spending cash. Yeah, we interviewed one lady, not the Obama phone lady, we interviewed her too, who'd gotten over 100 free phones in just the last few years. And again, it's just a giant boondoggle, and the telecommunications companies, they make the money off of it. The rest of it's up on Infowars.com, it's on DrudgeReport.com, it's all over the place, and that's investigative journalism. In fact, we ought to send my crew out with a hidden camera and go to one of these Obama phone things and walk in and say, I'm going to use it to buy crack. And they'll sit there and give it to you. And then come back a day later and get another phone. You can just get the phone over and over and over again. Taxpayer paid for. We did send undercover people into the Austin water facility on a tour, but weren't supposed to have cameras to show where it said deadly poison, 1 drop and you're dead, skull and crossbones. It eats holes in the concrete and they're pumping it right into the water. But that's what you got to do to illustrate this to people. Let's go ahead and go to Lisa in Arkansas, and we'll come back and talk to everybody else. You want to talk about Agenda 21? Go ahead.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Hey. Yes, there's a thing going on that they're trying to do here in Arkansas and Missouri. It's the White River Watershed Blueway.
Yeah, and then they take property up to 10 to 50 miles on each side and don't let you build on it. And basically, they're the mafia. What's wrong with that? It's very loving.
This is covering 17.8 million acres.
I know, it's massive.
It seems like, I know, it's insane. And no one, it seems like, here has heard of it.
Well, see, when they shut down your land use, then all the insider mafia, they're going to be allowed to build, so their property's going to increase in value. I mean, what's wrong? What's wrong with that? It's loving.
I know. Well, in Arkansas, we have to do resolutions in each county, and there's only been maybe 9 that's done so far. And that's why I called you, just to try to get the word out, because I know you have a lot of listeners here in Arkansas.
Yes, ma'am. Every major river and even side streams, they're going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles out in some cases. They sit there and gerrymander the maps because all these big boards meet, and all the insiders, their land is excluded, or they get a waiver later, and then they just say, it's for the earth. You can't build on your property now. We're liberal. With troops with black uniforms and machine guns behind them. I mean, it's just like, drink some more poison, lady. Take some more shots and roll over and die. I mean, it's just a military takeover. You go to these meetings, and they're all just there. Not the public smart growth ones, but the ones that get announced, but they're not really promoted, where they actually meet beforehand. They're just like, and they're going, and my property will be off limits from the agreement, so yours, Bob. They just rub their hands together and just, why not? I mean, they're hardcore criminals. What's wrong with that? And we put up with it, so we deserve it, don't we?
Yeah, we really do. Our country is ours to lose.
I mean, around here, they took hundreds of thousands of acres the last 15 years for a watershed, and then they have the former mayors and people that did it owning the banks that you have to go to, and then you get a waiver to build on your own property. I mean, but they don't have names like Gotti or Gambino, and people are like, only Italians can be criminals. There's no way, people with names like Watson or Jones could be criminal. Or if you're black, you can't be a criminal. Obama, Peace Prize. Or if you're, it just goes on and on. It's like if you're wearing a suit, it's okay. I'm serious. You could have guys in suits and ties if they were really fancy in Armani suits with meat cleavers, just chopping children up at like a watermelon stand. One a leg, one an arm, and as long as you're wearing a suit, the police would be there and help move the child in and bring a guillotine in to cut their heads off. How you doing today, ma'am?
Crazy, but true.
I'm being a little sarcastic, but you know why I quit doing a fourth hour. I tend to go wild in the fourth hour. That's what happens, and it's wrong, and I appreciate your call, ma'am. I think a fourth hour, the reason I quit was, A, I get too exhausted afterwards, and I can't get the rest of my work done for a while. But B, and more importantly, it gets to me, all this news, so I start getting really satirical. In fact, look at my Twitter account, one of our Twitter accounts, Real Alex Jones. And again, there's that video if you want to see it down there from 6 hours ago. Video, NSA caught taping people in public. Best satire ever. Please retweet that out to everybody you know. Okay, let's go to another extremist. Lucy in Texas. Lucy, you're not dead. You haven't been drinking enough fluoride, taking enough shots, honey. Why are you hurting the earth, even being alive?
I'm actually a newly awakened American.
Whoa, that's extreme.
It is, and, over the past few months, I've really come across a lot of information. And talking about the weather today, I've noticed last week we had a little circulation of storms coming in, and it was over the past, just like 4 days straight. And, I kind of just noticed how the pattern came in. It came in from the south one day, then it came in from the east another day, and then from the north, and then it just kind of did a circular thing. And, with a lot of the things, we're going through a really dry season. I'm trying to do a lot of things here at my house and get things going, and with the chemtrails and all that, it really is a hindrance for a lot of us, and Texas agriculture has been struggling lately. So we're really trying to hang in there. And I just kind of, thought I read something about HARP and how a lot of theories about how it influenced the earthquake in Japan, and it influenced a lot of other natural disasters, maybe even Hurricane Sandy that went through New York. And,
well, ma'am, there are giant admitted weather modification programs going on for at least 20 years, and they were doing a lot of tests for decades before that. But definitely the weather has been manipulated, and they're trying to get better and better at controlling it while denying it exists to the general public, even though it's in official congressional boards and UN treaties. Absolutely, I mean, there's all sorts of weather modification going on. But the public's almost in like a Stone Age level technology, compared to what the establishment's got. And so they like to just keep us totally in the dark, treat us like children, and say, oh, there's no NSA. I mean, I'd get phone calls in like 1996 on radio saying there is no NSA. That was first when they were admitting it was going on and Echelon was spying. People would say, not only are they not spying because that's illegal and we're not 1984, but it doesn't exist. But, I mean, now the street lights have got microphones in them, the newer ones. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Taking a chance, calling in and getting to share information with you. But, I think information is our virtue right now, and we need to communicate and share information. And that's what's going to get us maybe to the answer of what is their agenda. And,
that's why they want to keep their agenda secret so we can't have a debate about it. So they just go, doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Brooklyn Bridge doesn't. It'd be like we said, scientists are saying, hypothetically, the Brooklyn Bridge may be in danger of collapsing. And their answer would be, there is no Brooklyn Bridge. And you could be there going, well, there's the Brooklyn Bridge right there. And you could be in Manhattan. And they'd say, no, it isn't. So they just play this mind game with us. Sorry, go ahead.
During your Bilderberg weekend, I was following that, and I actually came across some videos on YouTube, and I think I tried sending them to Paul, and my email it kept giving me a mailer Damon error thing. But I came across a video on YouTube where the Honorable Paul Hellyer, the Minister of National Defense, actually disclosed information about Bilderberg in relation to UFOs. And me coming from a Christian background, and I never believed in things like that. And here lately, like I said, I'm newly awakened, and information has literally just been soaking in. And
well, here's my issue. I mean, there are obviously unidentified flying objects. That doesn't mean that there are aliens in there. I mean, you see stuff all the time. It's like they had NSA blimps over cities, and they would go, well, it's aliens, and they had propellers on it, because you couldn't say it was an NSA blimp with the solar panels on top, so you had to say it was an alien. I just don't know about that whole UFO crowd. There's just so much disinfo in it. But good to hear from you, Lucy. Glad you called in. Good to have you on board. Please spread the word about the broadcast. You're absolutely right. Spreading information is seminal, and it's key, and it's paramount. Let's go to Abraham in Ontario. Syria and NATO is what you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, that's correct. I would like, first of all, Alex, my name is Ibrahim. I'm a Lebanese Muslim, and I really respect your work and your opinions. Just one more thing before getting to the subject. When looking at the whole political spectrum, like there's a left and the things they talk about, and the fake right, as you say, they all come up to the same distortion on the Middle East, right? There's like a very big distortion. Like, first of all, I have a lot of I'm Muslim. I have Muslim friends. A lot of them respect you and really respect your opinions, for one. So I'm going to get into the subject. So I wanted to make a connection between Libya and Syria. There are very similar cases. They're very similar. What happened is very similar. But Libya, as you know, Gaddafi tried to establish a new currency, a new gold currency. Now, as you know, gold is
it's part of the same war, same people, same everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but just one more thing I wanted to add. I know, as a Muslim, Al-Qaeda is a satanic, crazy group. I know, funded, brainwashed. They're a bunch of drug heads, if you'd like. But what I wanted to get to is, even though the rebels in Syria are the ones in the wrong, you got to understand that the Assad government, it wants to keep its sovereignty, but they do have secret arrests and secret torture behind the scenes. And if you go on YouTube, there are loads of videos from both sides. And before this whole revolt was going on, like for example, I have an uncle, you know, I'm Lebanese in Lebanon. He used to like say all sorts of bad things about the Assad government, and he got like secretly arrested by
There
that
is
government.
no doubt that the Assad regime is a dictatorship, and I don't support them. But I do not support an offensive attack on Syria, giving al-Qaeda weapons, while they take my rights away because of a manufactured al-Qaeda threat. And they want a clash of civilizations. So I understand that, sir. I mean, my issue was the CIA isn't overthrowing the country to put a good government in. They're doing it to destabilize the whole region. It's on record, and God bless you. Got 20 seconds, closing comment.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's a really good point. Which is one more thing I wanted to say is a lot of people, like, I love the views of libertarianism. You said you're a constitutional populist. I really, like, respect that. But one thing is, I've seen a lot of, like, the extreme right. I really like the freedom values that you guys have, and I share them as a Canadian living here in Niagara. And there's something really fast is, you guys have got to open your mind, as David Icke says, on the views of Islam. I don't want you guys to convert, but let's just have peace and let's live together. The Palestinians, the Israelis, let's live together, you know?
All right, we're out of time. I hear you, my friend. I appreciate your call. Look, let's get the cancer viruses out of the vaccines. I mean, I'm trying to deal with those issues. State of Mind, the new film, exclusively available, InfoWarsStore.com, and it supports the broadcast. You get, for a limited time, the film American Dream free with the new film, and it's also on Blu-ray, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. See you back tonight, 7 o'clock.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.